Hello, everyone. My name is Ethan McGhee. This is my GEOG 585 final project presentation. My project aimed to highlight me and my best friend's runs on Strava using a map-centric approach. This allows us to view each other's data in our local area and identify streets or trails that we have not yet run on. It also provides a cool graphic if we want to share specific information without having to scroll through the Strava app. I was able to collect data from Strava by downloading the raw data from Strava's developer resources. After a bit of data conversion from a .fit file to a .gpx file, I was then able to process this data into a GeoJSON format using QGIS. To do this, I needed to utilize a conversion script, which I found on GitHub. I'll link that right here. I also created a tile-based map using publicly accessible data from my city's GIS hub, including streets, trails, and open space. To do this, I downloaded the shapefiles and imported it into QGIS, and from there, I generated the tiles at the various zoom extents and uploaded it to AWS. I allowed the user to decide between 3 different base maps to use, the first being and the default being my base map with the data that I mentioned earlier, the second being an Esri World base map, and then third being OpenStreetMaps base map. The thematic layers that I loaded in are also broken up into my data and my friend Kai's data, so that way we're able to look and see each other's data using this one application. I exposed my data as a GeoJSON drawn by the browser, and I did this because I had attribute information that I wanted to reference in the pop-up and in the body text when I selected or when a user selects on a run. Going ahead and show you what this looks like. All right, so this is the application that I created for this project. As you can see, we've got run data here shown in the black lines, and then we've also got a couple of base maps. I mentioned earlier that we have 3 different base maps that you can select from on the map, the default being the one that I created for San Luis Obispo. I think this one is the most relevant because it's got all of the different streets and the trails that are found. And so we can see here that neither Kai and I have done the M trail. So that might be a cool trail that we can run on in the future. But let's say we're looking at Montana de Oro State Park, having Esri World imagery and OpenStreetMap allows us to view the non-city of San Luis Obispo data. So we can see here that we both run on Hazard Peak. So if we were to go through and check out each other's runs, one thing that we can do is filter our run data. Right now we have both our data combined, but let's say I just want to view my data. I can see here that I run primarily in the downtown, whereas Kai runs more in the open space Irish Hills over here in Johnson Ranch. So that's really interesting. And then looking at each other's data, we can select on a particular run. We can also drag this pop-up so that way it doesn't obstruct with this information. Let's say we want to take a screenshot and send it to each other. Now we're able to show what that exact route looks like. And then we're able to have all of the different information. So how long it took each other to run, the max heart rate, for example, the average heart rate. And then if I were to go through and look at my data, now I can look and see and compare what that looks like if we were on the same run. We can see how our heart rates differ, our cadence, elevation gain, for example. So that's a little overview into the data. We've got a filter for the GeoJSON. We have a tile base map selector right here, and we have different pop-ups and information to show the GeoJSON data in the web application. I also implemented 2 distinct features that I'd like to highlight outside of the lesson material in this class. The first being the layers control that allows me to filter through multiple base maps and allows me to filter through the GeoJSON data as well. I also implemented a feature to drag the pop-up so that way it wouldn't obstruct the run data. So that's a little bit about my project. I'll go through right now and have all of the hyperlinks if people want to be able to view this application on their own. Thank you very much for watching.